All right, so get this.
Hmm.
You sent us this document
Yeah.
about this Zimbabwean inventor
Okay.
who claims to have cracked the code of free energy.
Wow.
Yeah, you heard that right.
Free energy.
Free energy.
Hmm.
His name is Maxwell Chikambutsu.
Okay.
And he says he can power everything,
Really?
from cars to TVs,
Uh-huh.
using something he calls microsonic energy.
Microsonic energy.
Sounds wild, right?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
So tell me more about this guy.
So what's interesting here
Yeah.
is that Chikambutsu isn't coming from, like,
Oh, right.
some high-tech lab
Yeah.
in Silicon Valley or something.
Uh-huh.
He's a self-taught inventor working in a place
I see.
not typically known for technological breakthroughs.
That's interesting.
Exactly.
It really challenges assumptions about, like,
Right.
where innovation comes from.
For sure.
Yeah.
So how does this microsonic energy actually work?
Yeah.
The document claims he can pull power from radio waves.
Radio waves, huh?
Imagine if your car antenna
Okay.
didn't just play music,
Right.
but actually fueled the engine.
Like it powered the car?
Yeah. Could that even be possible?
Well, so he says he's figured out how to capture those ambient radio waves, kind that are all around us,
Yeah.
and amplify them into usable electrical current.
Okay.
He even mentions using superconductors
Wow.
and nanomaterials.
So that sounds
Yeah.
pretty high tech.
It does.
How would he even have access to this kind of stuff
Right.
in Zimbabwe?
Well, that's part of the mystery. We know he doesn't have
Right.
a formal scientific background, and Zimbabwe's not exactly known for its nanotech industry.
So this document you sent us,
Yeah.
it lays out his claims, but does it actually get into the specifics of how
Right.
this technology works?
Well, there are descriptions of antennas capturing this broad spectrum of radio frequencies from sources like the ionosphere and even our own communication networks.
Wow.
But the details on how that energy is amplified
Right.
and converted into a usable form,
Yeah.
that's where things get a bit vague.
So he's basically saying he's harnessing the power
Yeah.
of invisible technology
Kind of.
all around us.
Yeah,
If this is even remotely true,
it would be.
it could be revolutionary.
Revolutionary, yeah.
Imagine
no
no more gas stations.
gas stations, yeah.
No more charging stations.
No more
Just
charging
a
stations.
clean, limitless energy
That's-
from thin air.
It's a very captivating idea, no
Yeah.
doubt. But it really does go against a lot of what we know about physics.
For sure.
The energy density of
Yeah.
ambient radio waves is incredibly low.
Yeah.
You'd need an incredibly efficient and powerful system
Right.
to capture and amplify them
Okay.
to a level that could power something like a car.
Let's talk about this car.
Okay.
He calls it the Scythe.
The scythe.
The document says it can reach speeds of
Wow.
220 kilometers per hour
Okay.
and costs a fraction of what it takes
Really?
to manufacture a standard electric vehicle.
So think about it. Even high-end electric car, like Teslas, still rely on these bulky, expensive batteries and require access to
Exactly.
charging infrastructure.
Yeah.
If Chikambutsu's claims are true,
Right.
the Scythe could potentially drive forever
Wow.
without needing to refuel or recharge.
The document also mentions other inventions.
Oh, really?
A self-powered TV, a megawatt generator,
Wow.
even a racing motorbike, all running off this microsonic energy.
So it's not just a car.
If he's pulled this off, it's
Yeah.
not just a cool gadget.
It's a total game changer.
It's a total game changer.
Especially for regions like Africa, where
Right.
energy poverty is a huge issue.
Yeah.
Imagine the impact
Yeah.
reliable off-grid power
Yeah.
could have on communities struggling with limited access to electricity.
Okay, but let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
This all sounds pretty unbelievable,
It
right?
does sound unbelievable.
What are the chances this is actually real?
Well,
Like,
let's just say the scientific community
uh-huh,
is taking a wait-and-see approach.
right.
Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence.
Yeah.
And so
right.
far, we haven't seen much to back up these bold assertions.
But there's a lot of skepticism out there.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
defying the laws of physics is a pretty tall order.
It is, and yet history is full of examples
Okay.
of breakthroughs that were initially met with resistance.
Right.
Think about Galileo claiming the Earth revolves around the sun.
Okay, yeah.
Or the Wright brothers trying to fly.
Right.
People probably thought they were crazy.
Okay, so how about this?
Okay.
Let's say for a moment
Yeah.
that Chikambutsu's technology is legitimate.
Okay.
What would the implications be?
Yeah, what would that look like?
We're not just talking about a new type of car.
Right.
This could disrupt entire industries, maybe even reshape the global balance of power.
If this technology really works,
Yeah.
the impact would be profound.
Yeah.
Imagine the implications for oil-dependent economies,
Right.
for energy companies,
Uh-huh.
for governments that rely on fossil fuel revenue.
Yeah.
This could be a seismic shift
Wow.
in the geopolitical landscape.
Okay, so we've got A potentially world-changing invention.
Right?
A controversial inventor.
Yeah.
Going up against powerful forces.
Uh-huh.
A nation betting big on a radical future.
Wow.
What's the next chapter in this story?
Well, all eyes are on February 10th, 2025.
Okay.
That's when Chikambutsu is scheduled to unveil his technology to the world in Zimbabwe.
Okay.
It's a make-or-break moment. If he can demonstrate what he claims,
Right.
it could change everything.
So what's your take on all this?
Well,
Do you think this is the real deal? Or is it just another case of wishful thinking?
I'm approaching this with cautious-optimism.
Okay.
I'm fascinated by the potential, but I also recognize the need for rigorous scrutiny.
For sure.
We need to separate the hype from the facts,
Uh-huh.
and that's what we're going to try to do today.
Great. So for you listening at home,
Yeah.
strap in.
Get ready.
We're about to go deep into the world of
Right.
microsonic energy,
Microsonic energy.
exploring its potential, its challenges, and its implications.
It's going to be a great deep dive.
Are you ready to take the plunge?
Let's do it.
It's interesting to think about
Yeah.
the history of free energy claims.
Yeah.
You know, Chikambutsu isn't the first person to say they figured out how to create energy from nothing.
Right. There's a long line of inventors who
Right.
claim to have
Right.
discovered revolutionary energy sources,
Uh-huh.
only to be met with skepticism and even ridicule.
Like Nikola Tesla.
Oh, yeah.
For example,
Yeah.
he was obsessed with this idea of wireless power transmission.
Yeah.
But his ideas were considered too radical.
Too radical for the time.
At the time.
He faced a lot of pushback from the scientific establishment and powerful interests who had a stake in the existing energy infrastructure.
And there was that guy, Stanley Meyer, who claimed to have invented a car that ran on water.
A water-powered car.
Yeah, whatever happened with that?
Well, his water fuel cell technology generated a lot of buzz in the 1990s.
Yeah.
But he died under mysterious circumstances before he could fully prove his claims.
Really?
Some people believe he was silenced by powerful forces.
Wow.
Threatened by his invention.
So Chikambutsu is stepping into a pretty contentious field.
It is a contentious field.
Do you think there's a pattern here? Are these inventors onto something real?
Yeah, are they?
Or are they just chasing a pipe dream?
It's hard to say for sure.
Yeah.
There's always a possibility
Right.
that some of these inventors are on the right track. But they face an uphill battle against established scientific paradigms and entrenched economic interests.
It makes you wonder if Chikambutsu really has cracked the code of free energy. Could he overcome the forces
that have seemingly silenced others before him?
Silenced others, yeah. Is he destined to meet the same fate?
Yeah.
Only time will tell. But one thing is for sure.
Yeah.
If his technology is legitimate, it could have a massive impact on the world.
So let's imagine for a second that Chikambutsu's claims are true.
Right.
What would a world powered by microsonic energy look like?
It's a fascinating thought experiment.
Yeah.
If we could tap into ambient radio waves as an energy source, it could potentially transform everything from transportation to manufacturing.
To how we power our homes.
No more reliance on fossil fuels. No more carbon emissions.
No more emissions.
No more energy scarcity.
It sounds almost utopian.
It does.
But it's important to remember that even with a revolutionary technology like this, there would still be challenges to overcome.
Like what?
Distributing this energy. Managing its impact on the environment. And ensuring equitable access would all be complex issues.
And of course, there's the question of how existing power structures
how would they react?
Would react to such a disruptive technology.
Would they embrace it?
Yeah.
Or try to suppress it?
Okay, let's bring things back down to earth for a moment.
Okay.
We've talked a lot about the potential global implications. But what about the more immediate impact on Zimbabwe?
Yeah.
This document mentions that the Zimbabwean president is backing Chikambutsu's work.
Yes. And that's a significant development. If Chikambutsu succeeds, it could position Zimbabwe as a leader in this new energy frontier.
Imagine that a country often overlooked on the global stage suddenly becomes the epicenter of an energy revolution.
It's a pretty compelling narrative.
It is.
It's a testament to the power of innovation and potential for groundbreaking ideas to emerge from unexpected places.
But let's not forget the potential risks.
What if
Chikambutsu's technology
doesn't live up to the hype?
Yeah. What happens then?
There's a lot riding on his demonstration on February 10th. If it's successful, it could be a game changer. But if it fails, it could set back the development of this technology for years.
And there's also the potential for misuse.
Oh, yeah.
Could this technology be weaponized?
That's a valid concern when any powerful technology.
Yeah.
It's important to think about the potential downsides as well as the benefits.
So what can you tell us about the actual evidence supporting Chikambutsu's claims?
Well,
the document mentions working prototypes. But is there any independent verification?
So far, the evidence is largely anecdotal.
Okay.
We have eyewitness accounts of his inventions working.
Okay.
But there hasn't been any rigorous scientific testing or peer review.
So essentially, we're being asked to take Chikambutsu's word for it.
That's right. And that's where critical thinking comes in.
Right.
We need to be cautious about accepting extraordinary claims without extraordinary evidence.
So how do we evaluate these claims? What questions should we be asking?
First, we need to consider the source of the information. Is it credible?
Right.
Is it biased?
And in this case, our source is a single document.
Right.
With no clear author or affiliation.
That raises some red flags.
Yeah, it does.
We also need to look at the evidence itself.
Okay.
Is it consistent with what we know about science and technology?
Right.
Are there any alternative explanations?
So far, we haven't seen any detailed schematics, experimental data, or independent analysis to back up Chikambutsu's claims.
That's not to say his technology is impossible.
Okay.
But it does mean we should approach it with a healthy dose of skepticism.
Okay, so how about this? Let's dive into one of Chikambutsu's inventions in more detail and see if we can unpack how it's supposed to work.
Okay.
What about that self-powered television you mentioned earlier?
Oh, yeah, the TV.
That one really caught my attention.
That's a good choice.
Yeah.
It's one of the most intriguing claims in the document.
The idea of a TV running entirely on ambient energy is pretty mind-blowing.
It is.
No cords, no batteries.
Wow.
Just endless entertainment.
Endless entertainment.
It sounds like something out of a science fiction movie.
It does sound very futuristic.
So how's this thing supposed to work?
Well, according to the documents, it works on the same principle as the car. And the other inventions, specialized antennas capture radio waves, which are then converted into a usable form of energy to power the television.
Okay, but even if you could capture enough energy from radio waves, wouldn't you need some kind of storage system?
Yeah, like a battery.
A battery, yeah.
Right, to ensure a consistent power supply.
Right, because TVs need a lot of energy to function.
That's a valid point.
Yeah.
Traditional electronics rely on batteries or capacitors to smooth out fluctuations in power.
Yeah.
But Chikambutsu claims his technology can provide a constant flow of electricity directly from the converted radio waves.
Really?
Eliminating the need for batteries.
That's a bold claim.
It is.
Even if we assume he can capture enough energy from radio waves, how does he manage to stabilize the flow to a level that can power a TV?
Yeah.
There's no explanation of that in the document.
That's one of the many missing pieces of the puzzle.
Right.
Without more detailed information about the inner workings of his technology, it's difficult to assess the feasibility of his claims.
So we're left with more questions than answers.
It seems that way.
But even if we set aside the technical questions for a moment, the potential applications of a self-powered TV are pretty fascinating.
They are fascinating.
Imagine the implications for communities without reliable access to electricity.
Absolutely. In many parts of the world, people rely on expensive and polluting generators or simply go without electricity altogether.
Wow.
A television that could run without any external power source could be a game changer.
It could provide access to information, education, and entertainment, bridging the digital divide.
Yeah.
Empowering people in underserved communities.
And it's not just about entertainment.
Yeah, what else?
Imagine the potential for distance learning, telemedicine, and other essential services in remote areas.
It's a powerful example.
It is.
Of how a seemingly simple invention could have a profound impact on people's lives.
It's a reminder that innovation isn't always about creating something entirely new. Sometimes it's about finding creative ways to adapt existing technologies to address real-world problems.
It's amazing to think about a world where energy is as abundant and accessible as the air we breathe.
Yeah.
But how realistic is that vision?
Yeah, is this
Chikambutsu's microsonic energy the key to unlocking that future? Or just another tantalizing illusion?
That's the question we've been wrestling with throughout this whole deep dive. We've explored the claims, the potential, the challenges, but the ultimate answer lies in the evidence.
Okay, so let's talk about the evidence. What would it take?
Yeah, what would it take?
to convince the scientific community,
Right.
and frankly, people like you and me,
Yeah.
that this technology
Is legitimate.
is legitimate.
Well, he would need to provide
Okay.
much more than just anecdotal evidence
Okay.
and vague descriptions.
Right.
He'd need to open up his technology to independent scrutiny and allow scientists to conduct rigorous testing.
So no more secrecy.
Right.
No more trade secrets as an excuse to avoid sharing details.
Right. He'd need to
You need to lay it all
out, yeah.
on the table.
Exactly. He would need to publish detailed schematics, experimental data, and analysis in peer-reviewed scientific journals.
The real deal.
Yeah, the real deal.
Scientific journals.
He'd need to be completely transparent about how his inventions work and allow others to replicate his results.
And this testing would have to be done.
Yeah, it would have
These controlled environments, right?
In control environments, absolutely.
To eliminate any possibility of trickery or outside interference.
Rigorous scientific testing requires carefully designed experiments, controlled variables, and independent verification of results.
So what are the chances?
Yeah, what are the chances?
Of that happening?
Yeah, do you think...
I think Chikambutsu is willing,
if he will,
to subject his technology to that level of scrutiny?
It's hard to say. Yeah. He's expressed concerns about intellectual property theft and suppression by powerful interests.
Right.
He seems reluctant to share the specifics of his inventions until he feels they're adequately protected.
That's understandable.
It is.
But it also creates a catch-22 situation.
Right.
Without transparency, it's difficult to gain the scientific credibility and support he needs.
He needs that support
to move forward.
It's a delicate balance. On the one hand, protecting his intellectual property is essential. But on the other hand, he needs to engage with the scientific community if he wants his claims to be taken seriously.
And let's not forget about
and what
the potential resistance from those who have a vested interest.
A vested interest.
In maintaining the current energy paradigm.
In the status quo.
If Chikambutsu's technology is truly disruptive.
If it's really disruptive.
There are powerful forces.
Powerful forces out there.
That might try to stop it.
It's a classic David and Goliath scenario.
Yeah.
A lone inventor claiming to have this technology that could upend trillion-dollar industries.
Wow.
It's no surprise that there would be pushback.
We've seen this pattern before.
We have.
With other inventors who claim to have discovered revolutionary energy sources.
Revolutionary energy,
They often face skepticism, ridicule, and even threats.
History is full of examples of groundbreaking ideas being suppressed or dismissed because they challenge the status quo.
It's tough.
It can be a long and difficult road for innovators who dare to think outside the box.
So where do we go from here?
Yeah, where do we go?
We have this incredible story.
We do.
A fascinating technology. And a lot of unanswered questions.
A lot of questions, yeah.
What's the takeaway?
What's the takeaway?
For our listeners?
Well, I think this deep dive has been a valuable exercise in critical thinking.
Right.
We've encountered extraordinary claims, explored tantalizing possibilities, and wrestled with the limitations of the available evidence.
It's a reminder.
It is a reminder.
That we should be both.
Right. We should be
curious and skeptical.
Curious and skeptical.
We should be open to new ideas.
Open to new ideas, yeah.
But we should also demand evidence.
Evidence.
And rigorous scrutiny.
Rigorous scrutiny, yeah.
Before accepting them as fact.
It's a process. And it's also a reminder that the pursuit of knowledge is an ongoing process. There's always more to learn, more questions to ask, and more discoveries to be made.
So as we await the outcome
as we wait
of Chikambutsu's demonstration on February 10th, I encourage you to stay curious.
Stay curious, yeah.
Stay engaged.
Stay engaged.
And stay informed.
Stay informed.
Do your own research.
Yeah.
Explore different perspectives.
Explore different perspectives.
And come to your own conclusions.
And most importantly, don't be afraid to question assumptions.
Okay.
Challenge conventional wisdom.
Right.
And think for yourself.
Think for yourself.
That's the essence of critical thinking.
Yeah.
And the foundation of scientific progress.
Well said.
And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive into the world of microsonic energy.
All right.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everybody.
On this journey of exploration and discovery.
Until next time.
Yeah.
Stay curious.
Stay curious.
Stay skeptical.
Stay skeptical.
And keep an open mind.
We'll see you next time.